everyone, welcome back to another video. This is Megan. I always forget to say my name from Manuscripts, Music, and More because my last name is Music, spelled with a K, and I never explain that. And one day I'm actually going to talk about music on this channel. We'll see. I'll get there. Anyway, so today I just want to tell you some of my most anticipated new releases of 2021. Wait, what? 2021. Yeah, I said that really strangely, and then I got confused if I said it the year the right way. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you today 10 books that I am really looking forward to in 2021. I've done some research on these, and I've also watched some other YouTubers' videos to kind of compile the list of the ones that I'm most excited about. Not surprisingly, they are mostly fantasy. So here we go. The book that I'm going to start out, and some people do these in chronological order of the release date, but I'm going to do them in order that I'm kind of the most excited about, so, or at least the first couple. So the first book that I'm the most excited about is called Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. Now, I've never finished a Jay Kristoff novel before, but he did write the Illuminae Chronicles, or Files, with, who is it, Amy Kaufman, and he wrote the Nevernight series that I know is supposed to be really good. And I know he has written both young adult and adult fantasy novels before, and sci-fi novels, but this is supposed to be the reemergence of vampires. And with as much as I love Anne Rice, and of course I liked Twilight back in the day in college, that I think that this is going to definitely be the book for me. So according to Goodreads, where Jay Kristoff himself made a post, he said, so first of all, of course, it's going to be a new fantasy trilogy. And he said, quote, Empire of the Vampire is not a book for children. It is basically what would happen if Interview with the Vampire hooked up with Name of the Wind. So Name of the Wind, I really enjoyed. It was very kind of reminiscent of Game of Thrones. If you've never read it, it's a really good book as well. And of course, Interview with the Vampire is like, I mean, that has my heart. So I can only imagine the two. He said it is smutty and bloody. He said it is not for young adults. It is definitely an adult vampire novel. He compared it to Game of Thrones. He said it is epic. And he said it's illustrated, but that there would be more information about that next year. So I'm really intrigued about that. I don't know what it's actually about. Like, he just has said all these wonderful words about it, but it still sounds absolutely amazing. And it is the book I'm most excited about, but it does not come out. I should have told you this at the beginning. It doesn't come out until September 7th. I don't even think the cover has been released yet, but it is still the one that is most on my radar. The book I'm probably second most excited about is called Neon Gods by Katie Robert. It comes out June 1st, and it involves Greek mythology, and it's also an adult fantasy novel. So I'm super intrigued with Greek mythology. I always have loved it almost as much as I love vampires. So it is a dark romance, which I don't really read much romance, but considering it's dark and it's based on Greek mythology, and it centers around Persephone, who lives in like this ultra modern city that is called Olympus. And her mom has betrothed her, or like basically just sprung it on her that she is now engaged to Zeus. And she wants to get out of this arranged marriage, basically. And so to do that, she makes a deal. It says a deal with a devil, and it's of course going to be Hades. And Hades is going to help protect her. However, of course, it says, oh, and it says that Zeus is, quote, a man with more than a few dead wives in the past. So who wouldn't want to get out of that deal? Anyway, not surprisingly, I think the dark romance is going to come in between Persephone and Hades, which, of course, if you know the original Greek myth, she was forced to spend part of the year in the underworld and live with Hades. So and it says Hades may now go to war with Olympus itself to be able to keep her. So I am super intrigued. I mean, I like the fact that it's set in like a modern world. It sounds like some kind of more like almost like an urban fantasy, but with Greek mythology. And I was like, oh my gosh, and the romance with Persephone and Hades, that sounds so cool. So those are the two books that I am the most excited about, Empire of the Vampire and Neon Gods. Okay, the next one I'm pretty excited about is, I picked it because of the title. It's called A Game of Cones. I know, it's bad. I literally picked it because of the title. So Game of Cones by Abby Collette, and it comes out on March 2nd. Apparently it's the second in a series, but you don't have to have read the whole series, called the Ice Cream Parlor Mystery Series. So it's an ice cream parlor mystery, and obviously it sounds like sort of a parody of Game of Thrones. I can only imagine there's going to be intrigue and, you know, the kinds of things that would happen in Game of Thrones, but the light version of it set in an ice cream parlor. And it's about a girl whose best friend is the prime suspect in a murder, and she's gonna have to, you know, prove that she's innocent. It says it's gonna just be a very cozy mystery, but the title did it for me, and I'm gonna read it because it's called A Game of Cones. Okay, the next one that I put on here is the only YA novel that I've included, I believe. Yeah, I think so. It's called Don't Hate the Player by Alexis Ned. Wait, did I tell you? Yeah, Game of Thrones was coming out. Game of Thrones is coming out March 2nd. I think I told you that, but just in case, March 2nd. But Don't Hate the Player by Alexis Ned is coming out June 1st. It is a young adult romance, which is very strange for me to pick because honestly, I've not been enjoying much young adult lately, and I don't ever really read young adult romance. But it is about video games. So I tried some novels in the past, like Slay. People say that if you liked Slay, you would like this novel as well, but I did not like Slay. I didn't finish it. But it was about video games as well, kind of. But this one just says it is set in the world of competitive gaming, and obviously it's going to be a romance between two people in that world. So I'm intrigued because I am a gamer myself, and my husband's a huge gamer. We really are into gaming, so I thought that'd be really neat to read about. And it's a brand new author, debut author, so we'll see if it's any good. Now, this one could be very hit or miss. I have very high expectations for the other books I've mentioned so far, but this one, I actually have pretty low expectations. So if it's any good at all, I think it will probably amuse me. So, all right. So our next ones, the next ones are all adult fantasy novels, and they're all novels that I've also found on other booktubers channels that they have talked about, but I was also intrigued by them. If you want, you can go check out Elliot Brooks. If you've not seen any of her videos, she has a video that she released recently on young adult and adult sci-fi and fantasy novels that she is most excited about for 2021. And I did steal some of these from her, but I thought they also sounded awesome. So the first one is called The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick, I guess is how you say it. This one comes out January 19th, so we do not have to wait very long for this book. This book, it says, is in, I'm just kind of going to read you about it a little bit. It says it's a city of dark intrigue and glimmering magic. It's a place where Zorsas, I don't know what those are, but it's spelled kind of cool, can read your fate in the face of a pattern card, and creatures of shadow and claw can devour your nightmares. In this city called, I don't know, it's like Nadezra, a mask might hide the face of a beautiful con artist, a daring vigilante, a charming criminal, or someone far more sinister. So I'm assuming that those are going to be the main characters, the con artist, the vigilante, and the charming criminal. And there will be something sinister as well. And it's about mask, and the cover looks really pretty. And I am intrigued, and I will probably pick this one up. And what I really want to do is start keeping up a whole lot more with the new releases that are coming out, because I feel like I'm always behind on BookTube, and everybody's talking about these new books, and I'm just trying to get caught up on all these old books because I've missed out on so many books lately. And anyway, so I'm going to try to keep up a little bit more. The next book on the list is called Hall of Smoke by H.M. Long. This one also comes out in January. This one is January 19th as well, the same as the last one. And all it says, here's a little blurb. I think this is all you need to know, though. It says, epic fantasy featuring warrior priestesses, meddling gods at war, an atmospheric Viking-inspired world, and lots of axes. And it's got lots in capital letters. So lots of axes. I'm intrigued. Viking-inspired, warrior priestesses. Definitely never read anything like that. So I will totally pick this one up as well. All right, the next one is called The Black Coast by Mike Brooks, and that is coming out February 25th. It says it's a start of an unmissable series filled with war dragons, armored knights, seafaring raiders, dangerous magic, and crowd-pleasing battle scenes. I don't know that it's going to have pirates, but something about the font on the title, like the word coast especially, I don't know. It looks piratey to me. I mean, I guess it's not really truly pirates, but I mean, it says seafaring raiders, like, is that not pirates? So, I mean, but it's also got the dragons and the magic to go with pirates. So I love both of those things. I love dragons and magic, and I love pirates. So I can't imagine that this would be bad. The only bad thing is, of course, it's the start of another series. I feel like so many of these are going to be the start of a series. Most of the ones I've mentioned so far are like, oh, it's the first in a new trilogy or whatever. So, you know, I'm committing to reading maybe possibly a lot of books if I like the first one in these series. All right, the next one is The Counselor by E.J. Beaton. And this one comes out on March 2nd. So this one says it follows the story of a palace scholar, Lysand, who becomes elevated to a leadership position. As counselor, Lysand finds herself investigating the murder of her close friend, the Queen Cerelyn Bray, whilst choosing the next ruler from amongst the leaders of the cities. At the same time, an old enemy of the crown, the magic-wielding White Queen, is mounting a new attempt on the throne. Lysand has to put her intellectual skills to use in a new way, defending the realm and uncovering a traitor. So it sounds like it's got a lot of political intrigue. I like the idea that the main character is a scholar, because I feel like a lot of times they are, you know, warriors or whatever, or somebody that uses magic, you know, it has all these crazy abilities, but I'm definitely a scholar at heart. I mean, I am a Ravenclaw after all. So I feel like this would be a book that would really speak a little bit more to me, I suppose. I'm currently reading, what's it called? The Orange Tree book, Priory of the Orange Tree. And it's definitely an epic fantasy that kind of sounds like this. It kind of reminds me of this, but this sounds like a much smaller scale. There's only so much giant world building that I can handle, and this book sounds like it's not going to have like the massive Game of Thrones type world building or Priory of the Orange Tree type wide world building. So I'm actually pretty excited for just a small world that I don't have to learn as much or spend as much time on. So it actually sounds pretty good. Okay, there are 2 left. Number 9 is The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst, and this book comes out, let's see, March 9th. And the reason why I really am interested in this one is because it is a standalone fantasy novel. When does that ever happen? You know, there are always at least 2 books, right? Like a duology or whatever, or usually a trilogy, or sometimes many more books. So I don't have to commit to anything except this one book. Now, I know that a lot of times I don't like standalone fantasy novels because the world building, they can only do so much because they only have 1 book. So I'm assuming it's going to be a pretty long book. But anyway, The Bone Maker, it says, is a standalone epic fantasy novel set in a brand new world of towering mountains and sparkling cities in which a band of aging warriors have a second chance to defeat dark magic and avenge a haunting loss. Now, that doesn't sound very humorous. I know that usually when you have like old characters, like the movie Red, I think of that movie, or that Kings of the Wild book that everybody talks about. It's like older characters that have to come back together and reunite to do like one last mission. And usually that involves a lot of humor, but from the look of the cover and from the sounds of that description, it doesn't sound very humorous, but I could be wrong. But I think it sounds cool and I definitely want to check it out. The last book on the list is called Son of the Storm by, let's see if I can pronounce his name. Sui Davies Okungbowa. Okungbowa? That's what I'm going to say. That's a cool name. Honestly, I picked this one because of the cover. I think the cover looks amazing. And it says it's also about a scholar, which clearly I'm very intrigued by. Oh, and by the way, it comes out May 11th. May 11th. It is the start of a new trilogy that's going to be called The Nameless Republic, which I think sounds pretty cool. And it says it's a young scholar's ambition threatens to reshape an empire, determined to retain its might in this epic tale of violent quest, buried histories, and forbidden magic. So it sounds very generic in the description, but just based on that cover alone, it's so pretty. Yes, I'm judging it by its cover. And the fact that it is the start of what sounds like a pretty cool new series, I would definitely be intrigued to try it. I've seen it on a lot of people's lists, so I'm assuming that there must be some hype around it already, even though it doesn't come out till May, because it does sound so cool. So hopefully you found something there that intrigued you. It was really hard to narrow it down to just 10 because there were so many books. And yes, should I not have included Game of Cones? Maybe not. Because will I read that? I don't know. I want to. Or the you know, fantasy, why romance novel, Don't Hate the Player. But it just sounds so interesting to me. So anyway, there are tons of other books coming out in the month, or in 2020. You can look up guides online that tell you monthly, here's what comes out January, February, you know, so on. But a lot of times we only have releases for about the first half of the year right now. I know only one of these was really from the second half of the year, which was Empire of the Vampire, September 7th, which is the one, of course, I'm most excited about. But anyway, so keep checking back. I might even do this again probably in the middle of the year and do like what new releases I'm most excited for like the second half of the year, since most of these were from the first half. But let me know if you guys are interested in reading any of these books, or if you have heard of any other books that are coming out, especially ones you think I might like. You know my taste now, so let me know if you think that you know some other ones I might want to read. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.